Hey folks, this is Billy DKY, the truth seeker that simplifies and demystifies. I have some more post comments on UFC 100. I went to the UFC.com and watched some of their post fight videos and whatnot, and I had some more thoughts I wanted to throw out there. I don't know if any of y'all been there yet, but somebody had to sit down with Brock Lesnar because he wasn't the same man after he in his post fight interview. He was, the press conference, that is. He was very respectful, very humble, and I think part of it was him being himself, but also you could tell somebody, let him know that, hey, Budweiser pays the bills around here. You might be the champ. You start pissing Budweiser off. Dana White's probably making, I don't know how much money they're making. I'm sure they're making a crap load. You don't run the main sponsor down. Everybody's got a boss. That's the first rule of life. Everybody's got a boss. But I think he redeemed himself, I had a little bit of hard feelings towards him last night. I thought he was sort of being ignorant. He redeemed himself. He explained himself. It's pretty much a gone. You know what I'm saying? And I'm fine with it. Like I said, I think he's redeemed himself. I think somebody had a little. And he mentions that even that Dana White and him sitting and had a little powwow. So I think he got the message, and I think he's a decent guy. He just got a little stupid. You know what I'm saying? He's not completely redeemed, but he keeps winning fights. He'll redeem himself completely, or good enough for the people that ain't hard headed and want to hate him forever. Oh yeah, did you notice too when if you watched it, he had a Budweiser bottle Bud Light bottle right there in front of him, and it was also on the back wall because I think it's probably a regular sponsor of UFC. So I thought that was sort of funny. Okay, GSP. Again, folks, I ain't trying to disrespect any of these people when I talk about them. I respect all of them. I don't want to get in there. I don't want to get the injuries. I know they're all tough guys. Here's what I've noticed about GSP from the beginning. I don't mean to keep harping on him, but he's starting to get injuries, or he got that injury during the fight. I've noticed from the beginning, I thought he would get injuries anyway because he's a very stiff guy. It's like, I'm a real loose, limber guy, so I notice when somebody's being stiff. It's like he's going to get a lot more injuries as he gets older because of that stiffness. And that's what, like, when Thiago pushed that leg down and caused that groin injury, basically it was just, being stiff. He needs to really focus on being looser in his body, in his mind, and that'll lead to being looser in the body, like, somewhat like BJ Penn, and he probably should do some yoga. I'm sure he does plenty of stretching and stuff, but I'll tell you what I was disappointed in UFC 100. When I was looking at the pre-fight card, when I was looking at the card pre-fight, I was like, man, I really wanted to see Mark Coleman fight Stephen Bonner. I was dying. I was like, yes, I would love to see that fight. And I also wanted to see the John Jones fight because, tell you what, that cat's bad. I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Anyway, back to the Mark Coleman fight. Man, I don't know if you've seen it yet. Mark Coleman was jazzed up, man. Yeah, I'm back, baby. Like I said, I would love to have seen that. It's always inspiring to people when you got somebody that's 44 years old and goes out there and whips some young guy's ass who, you really shouldn't be, quote unquote, shouldn't be competing with. So I always like that. Anyway, back to the John Jones. Man, I'll tell you what, dude. I like the way the guy talks. He's got his head in the right place. He seems like he's doing the right things. They did bring up Machida, and I think he understood it too. So, I'm not really dinging on him because, like I said, he understood. He understands. He really ain't at that level yet, and he shouldn't. He probably could win if he fought enough times against him, but he's not ready for that. He needs more fights before he gets to that point because Machida's, if you try to jump up too quick, Machida may hurt you enough that, you might lose your confidence. You may, like I say, get knocked out, and those wiring within your mind, might mess up some of the connections a little bit, make it easier to get knocked out in the future. So, I think he just needs a baby step, and like I said, he'll be fine. He's a smart guy. He knows the difference. But I would have loved to have seen that fight. I would love to see John Jones fight. I didn't really care too much to see the Japanese guy fight or South Korean guy or whatever. the one I talked about in the first video, but it's fine. It's new exposure. Here's something I was watching the pre-fight or the post-fight videos on UFC.com, and I was just sitting there thinking how much it must really suck. You get in there and you give it your all. You think going to being a badass, and you give it your all. You want something so bad. And you put in countless hours that nobody sees and nobody's really going to give you credit for, and you get your ass whipped or it don't happen. And it's just, it's rough, That's a rough sport, You go in all confident and you come out body beat up, emotionally humbled. Tell you what, folks, that's rough. There ain't nobody in there, one thing or this way or that way, and, it's just to change your life. That's huge. That's a lot of pressure. That's why I think if you do this sport, you just can't give a rat's ass about the results. You just gotta do the best you can do and then live with it, It's rough. It's rough seeing Stephen Bonner. He just looked, I don't know. It's just something about him just looked, almost reminded me of a cult, really. Not, some of those cult followers, they're just sort of just mind numbed. That's the way he looked at her. He's like, I can't believe I just lost that. Or maybe he's still, I didn't see the fight, so maybe he got a good head injury or something. He just, I don't know. Here's something for Stephen Bonner. You need to quit trying to be funny. You're clinging to the past. You're trying too hard. Let Forrest Griffin be the funny guy because he's naturally funny. You're not really as funny as him. So, I noticed in the weigh-in he was doing that. Just let it go. Move on. You're Stephen Bonner. You're not Forrest Griffin. Y'all were funny together. Let it go. Forrest is the funny guy. Just let him be that way. Don't try to do it too. Here's something else I've noticed. Talking about technique and jiu-jitsu, karate, wrestling. I think the greatest technique is to learn the technique that works for you. Like when Brock Lesnar beat Frank Mir, it was the technique of knowing his strengths, knowing what he didn't know, and then having some minor techniques to exploit his power. His advantages over Frank Mir. So just learning how to optimize your techniques for your body, your mind, your spirit, whatever. I think they know that. I'm not saying anything I think it's probably not known by those fighters. I just sort of want to throw it out there. Tom Lawler defeats CB Dollaway. Boy, I figured Dollaway would do pretty good. He's a real good wrestler, but I didn't really get to see Tom Lawler fight, so he ought to be interesting to see in the future. Oh boy, Dan Henderson. Dan always keeps the emotions low key, buddy. That's what Native Americans are good for, keeping emotions low key. Well, most of the time. I've got a little bit of Native American too, so I'm not running them down. Don't get me wrong. He's always Mr. Cool. I like to hit him again. Anyway, let's see if there's anything else. Yeah. Okay. Like I say, folks, it must be rough. You go in there, you fight. Then not to mention all the people that commentary on you, give you, you go in there and bust your ass at somebody on the commentary. Like I try to be as respectful as possible because I know they're great athletes. I know, it's you have people just run you down on the internet. And I think if you're a really good athlete, though, I think if you're a really top level athlete, you realize to take that kind of criticism and if you can learn from somebody's criticism, you can grow as a better athlete. So if I ever say anything to piss any fighters off, just try to take it with a grain of salt. Try to learn from it, not get pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's all I have to say.